What? You give me thumbs up. Am I supposed to be talking?
That means you're going to introduce the show this evening.
Oh, man. Hello. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and ladies. This is Casey Steed's trusted sidekick. I'm Tonto, I guess, in this whole Lone Ranger bit. Anyways, this is Thursday edition of Citizen Watch on KYOS 1480 for those of you that didn't dial us in. How are you going to listen to it? That's funny. But anyway, I always wondered why Casey says that. Casey, where are you? Come on, help me out, buddy.
The reason that you would maybe not know what station you dialed in is because you're listening to us on YouTube. All you have to do is go to YouTube and put KYOS 1480 AM in the search bar, and we will come up, or any one of our names. And don't forget Steve Colvard in there.
That's it.
Best engineer in AM radio.
Shittiest tennis player. Hey. Man, that guy always comes back with cramps and hobbling.
You realize we're on the air right now, right?
How old are you?
Don't worry about it.
How old are you?
I'm 46.
You're 46. Your body's like a 70-year-old.
I couldn't agree more.
Oh, Robert, come on.
I'm serious. Every time I go to the racket club on a Wednesday night to hang out with Steve, he's hobbling. I got old guys on the other end of the tennis court that run fluid, and they look like they're flying through the air. Not Steve. He's lumbering like a linebacker.
Well, it's safe to say, Robert, I've allowed myself to get a little bit out of shape. Come on.
Yeah, I saw what you ate last night.
He's built like a football player.
Yeah, but I saw what he ate last night, man. He had 8 tacos, 3 Jack-in-a-Box burgers.
I had 7 tacos. What is the burger there? The Jack?
Jumbo Jack.
Jumbo Jack. I had a Jumbo Jack
fries.
with cheese and fries.
And you telling me that's good like 7 minutes before you go to sleep.
Monica Villa tried to give us dessert.
That was disgusting.
Oh, you ran into Monica?
She loves you, buddy.
Say?
Yes. She, let's see. What did she have to say, Robert?
What she was upset about is she was upset. She felt it was a slap in the face.
She was upset. She was so upset that her boyfriend left the building before she walked to our table because he was afraid she was going to make a scene.
And she did.
Oh.
Yeah, she wasn't too bad.
Oh, when she was talking to those college girls and baby.
Oh, well,
darling.
I left at that point.
No. Oh, yeah, you left at that point. But anyways, she was hitting on Steve. She was rubbing his arm. Steve ran into the bathroom.
She was not. She was not doing
anyways,
anything like
Monica Villa was upset at our buddy Casey Steed because Casey wore a suit.
She was upset at me.
She was upset at you.
I'm the biggest advocate for the homeless.
Sure, until you opened your mouth in front of City Council and told Norm Andrade, thank you for getting rid of the homeless.
Well, I think I echoed the sentiment of a lot of people.
You did, but she was there looking at you with that evil eye.
And I think there was a little bit more emphasis put on it because apparently you were in a suit. That kept coming up.
Yeah, a white shirt.
On. She wears a suit. I wear a suit. What's the difference?
I don't know. All I can tell you is she wanted us to let you know that as hard as you might try, Casey, you're never going to get rid of them. They are here. They're part of our community.
They're like roaches, is what she said.
They will be here.
Hey, buddy, I don't have any roaches in my house. But anyway, I don't equate the homeless to roaches.
But here was the situation yesterday.
They're in an unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
But I have to tell you, folks, a lot of it's their own doing. There's a lot of help out there. A lot of people don't want to comply by the rules. It's kind of like when you're a 17-year-old still living at home. You hate it, but you put up with it. Well, just because you're 47 or whatever out on the street, you got a substance abuse problem or not, or you've got mental issues, you got to go in. You got to take the help that's there.
She says
live under a bridge.
She was telling me that there is no help for the mentally ill.
No, that's not true.
She told me
you go to the Trident Center. I mean, we give mentally ill help to the people that, there's a lot of people that need mental help that don't get it, and unfortunately our felons and our homeless and that part of society gets it.
Yeah, well, here's my question, and I've always wondered this.
She had a great sense of frustration. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, here's the thing that she's standing there talking about her plight in life and how she had an issue and she worked in the food service industry and she had to take some time out because her son had committed suicide, which I understand. Wow, right. What was that?
That's feedback.
Oh, I thought it was a shooting star in Oklahoma.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Robert. She had a very traumatic situation.
No, but here's my point, Case. Those kind of people with a little bit of mental illness. My brother Vincent gets Social Security because he has some issues. Okay, they can get Social. Why are these people not getting?
Well, that one guy that Mayor Thurston was talking about, the guy that's on the
one-legged dude.
Yeah, he gets $800 and something bucks a month. I mean, he knows that for a fact.
They do get Social Security because, again, we don't have a safety net. We have a hammock. And these people are laying in it, and they just want more and more.
Well, she had a watch that was working.
To say, well, there's not enough. You're wrong, Monica. They're getting money. They're getting money, and if they're not getting money, it's because the government's determined that they're still able to work, and they just choose not to. And let me tell you, folks, our government's real liberal when it comes to not working.
Yeah.
More people on disability than ever.
Yep. She kept bringing up last night. She kept telling me, because Robert walked off. By the way, thanks for that.
He always does that. He'll start a conversation.
I didn't start that one.
She came over to talk to you, and next thing I know, I'm the.
I felt a little uncomfortable when she started rubbing my back, calling me a gentleman.
Yeah, she does.
Pirate was out of the room. I was wondering if I was getting hit on.
But she kept telling me, she's like, Steve, how much money does the homeless get in this community? He goes, she's like, $480,000 come in because of the homeless. Where does that go? The greedy bastards from our city government and police department.
Oh, she was also talking about money that they got for.
And then she also said, and I don't know if this is true or not, but she said that the city of Merced is on the hook for $500,000 for somebody that had given the city money for the Walmart distribution center, and now that it's not coming, they have to pay it back.
Yeah, what happened is, Dan, this is a really screwed up deal again. Thanks, John Carlisle. You just disgust me. I want to throw up in my lean cuisine when I think of you.
You're actually on a diet?
What?
You're actually on a diet? I bet you.
Hey, Case. Before you make that point, real quick, Robert and I were having kind of a debate about how much you weigh last night. I said,
okay.
I said, I'm going to tell you.
Radio makes me look bigger.
Well, I'm going to tell you what I said. I'm going to tell you what he said. I guessed between 275 and 280. He guessed.
I said close to 3.
Yeah, who's closer?
Yeah, are we coming up to our first break? I think it's time to go to a break, folks.
Come on, Case. Come on.
Well, I understand.
Steed and the Velvet Sledgehammer. This is why we call him the Velvet Sledgehammer.
Okay, so one of us had to be right, and I think it's closer to 3 because he's embarrassed.
I'll tell you what, when I get back, we'll bring a scale in the studio, and I'll prove you both wrong.
Hey, produce
let
scale.
me get back to this $200,000.
No, well, I heard it was
$500,000.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, she said it was $500,000.
$500,000,
yeah.
$500,000. What it is the city anticipated getting the Walmart distribution center. We even had the mayor on not even, 6 months ago saying it's coming. It's coming. They're here in town. No, folks, they were there in town to check on the almond trees they got growing, and then they split. Before they split, they put in a full-page ad saying, guess what? We ain't coming back. Read between the lines. The economy's changed. So what happened is the city planning department figured that they were going to get $1.5 million in fees, permit fees, because when you build a big old distribution center that employs 1,500 people, it costs a lot of money. Okay, and so they were going to get these permit fees, and then they were going to that would go into the city's general fund.
Right.
And then that money, in its turn, dispersed down. The other thing that we lost was graffiti abatement. The city couldn't keep their records straight. Now we lost the grant, and we don't have the money because, again, that's part of the Walmart money.
So we don't have that guy driving around killing the graffiti anymore?
We do for now, but it's going to end very soon.
You're kidding me.
They had bad record keeping. It's HUD. It's actually through HUD.
Because that guy.
So now there's a lot of competing. Anyway, let's not lose focus. There's a lot of competing factors for this money. When that money comes into the city coffers, every dollar is valuable. And this is why we need development. And this is why we need jobs. And we don't need people like John Carlisle, who disgusts me, that says we don't need these jobs because there's too many truck trips. Go stand out on the freeway, John, right in the middle lane preferably, and count how many trucks go by Merced. And if a few stop here and give us 1,400 jobs to people like Monica and like Pirate, because what kind of skill level do we have there that we've heard Quintero tell us?
Not real high.
No, low to medium. Low to medium, just like where the county sits. Supervisors, low. Okay, but your pay is high. Anyway, it's just another factor of why we need to row the boat in the same direction, because people like Monica do get screwed out of money. So the graffiti abatement does get screwed out of money, and everything else that $1.5 million was going to do.
But the assertion that we're on the hook to pay back somebody, is that a misunderstanding?
That's her putting a spin on it.
Okay.
Basically, they counted their chickens before they're hatched.
So it's just a $500,000 they were anticipating that's not coming.
That's right. They submit a budget in June. They look ahead. You know, how many optimistic forecasts have we heard from the county and the city? Oh, everything's turning up. It's rosy. It's rosy.
Yep.
Well, you know, take off your rose-colored glasses because it ain't rosy.
Well, I can tell you,
Walmart left. That left a $1.5 million hole in the budget. What do you do?
It was rosy over at Chipotle Burrito yesterday. I went over there to have some lunch, and there was a line going out the door.
Yep.
So I went next door to Panera.
And paid $9 for a loaf of bread. And then he wonders why he's broke. Robert has to subsidize his dinner.
I like Chipotle.
I do too. Hey, you know what I heard that was pretty interesting? I wanted to just touch upon. You know, we talk about MID and their water rates. They want to propose a water rate increase from $23 an acre foot to over $100. Yeah. Somebody who used to be on the board brought up a real good point, and I never really thought of this. Okay, what do the board members, the 5-member board, why are they not saying yes or no? Why are they giving this to the farmers to vote on? Because they want to be reelected. They are not going to take the heat, okay, for the spike and increase in water prices. So they're going to pass the opinion, just like proposition ballots. When it's a touchy point, our assemblymen and our congressmen, they bail and they put it to the vote. And then if they don't like what you vote, they throw it in court and get their way anyways. So here is John Swigert and his group, the 5 board members, are passing this vote onto the farmers so that they don't get pinned with a negative press.
Right.
What I'm saying is that instead of doing their job, the 5 board members doing their job and saying, hey, this is what we're going to do, because our guru, John Swigert, says, no, what they're doing is, okay, farmers, what do you think? And it's like such a pansy approach.
Yeah, and the ones that can afford it are for it. And the small guy that can't afford the $100 an acre foot are against it. So we'll see.
Bottled water at Costco.
You're going to see people go out of business this year, folks.
Yep.
And again, you know, no foresight, no planning.
Can I ask a stupid question?
No,
there are no stupid questions.
How much water is in a case? How much water do you think is in a case of water at Costco?
Oh, probably not even 3 gallons.
What? In a 36 pack?
Yeah, I mean, if you figure 36 little pints. I mean, that's not very much water.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, boy, Mike, that sounds a lot cheaper than it does at MID, doesn't it?
Just go buy a bunch of bottled water.
100,000 acre feet of water is about 325,000 gallons. It's a lot of water, baby.
Yeah.
And really, for $100, if you had to run that through your water meter at home.
Hey, I want to ask you a question.
Have a water meter, because if you go by his place, it looks like a swamp.
A swamp?
Well,
a swamp.
You leave your water running and fall asleep and wake up at 3
That's not a swamp, buddy. That's just there's
Robert,
a lake.
are you a water waster?
No. One time I got up and I ran the water. I didn't feel good. I was going to go outside and I have irises and they do water. So I thought I'll do a little drippy thing, let it drip a little bit, get a little soaked, and then turn it off. I fell asleep. 3 o'clock in the morning, I hear some guy walking past, you son of a bitch. And I hear whoosh, 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 whoosh. Yeah. Well, it's real dark next to my house, and I guess he was walking in water.
Yeah.
Hey, you know something really funny about this thing with Monica stopping you guys there?
Oh, my God. You get butthurt easy, don't you?
What about it, Case?
The thing that was funny is
she likes you?
John Carlisle, you know, she's complaining about the $500,000 taken away. And because of John Carlisle's vote, and that's not getting the Walmart distribution center, and who's the biggest advocate for the homeless? John Carlisle and Renee Davenport. Always standing up there, we need more HUD money, we need more money, we need more money. And here they realize they don't even see the fruit hanging before their eyes to take the opportunity to get the money. No, they want to go the government route. Let's suck on the government teeth a little bit more. And where does that money come from? It comes from your and my wallet.
Because they don't
pay it if we don't have a friggin' job. So here she's bitching about me, and she's bitching about money not being there. And their biggest advocate
Casey's
for the homeless, she'll embrace.
Yeah.
Has screwed her out of the money. And
Yeah, but here's the thing, though, Case. Come on.
To see it.
But that's why Renee Davenport and John Carlisle shouldn't be in a position of power anywhere within the city, because they are the biggest people that I complain about, of government employees that don't care how the money gets in the coffer, just so that money gets in the coffer. And they would rather get it from the federal government because it's like rain, sleet, or snow, whereas Walmart has to make money. When do we get the check? Yeah, look at Bank of America on Mother's Day. Every first of the month, man, that line is out the door.
Yep. Well, it's time to take our first commercial break. Robert, you want to take us out?
No. Go on, Steve.
Rob, well, anyway, this is Citizen Watch. First segment's done in the can. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for segment 2, folks. We'll be right back. KYOS AM 1480.
Thursday
Welcome
evening.
back to Citizen Watch this Thursday evening. How's that?
That sounds good. It's a start, brother.
Casey Steed and Steve Colvard, and the second best engineer in town, Robert Tomasetti.
Hey, I got a couple questions, Case. Maybe you can help me out
I can
with
hear
this.
out of both ears, buddy. This is
Are
awesome.
we really on?
Yeah, we're going.
Did he do the right thing?
Yeah, it looks like it. Looks like we're rolling like we should be.
If folks don't know what we're talking about, Robert and Steve switched positions, and now Robert, God help us all, if your radios blow up, folks, it's not our fault.
Gosh.
We're going to put out the disclaimer right now, but Robert is in charge of the station.
Yep. But I was going to ask you, Case, and I think you would probably be the man to inquire with on this.
Right.
I've had probably 4 or 5 people ask me in the last week why we call Robert Tomasetti the Velvet Sledgehammer.
Because I'm sledgy at times.
Do you want to explain that one?
It's so obvious, folks. The Velvet Sledgehammer, I mean, just picture it. A sledgehammer, a 10-pound sledge, one of those little handheld jobs that you can just, beat the hell out of something, covered in velvet. Just nice, soft, fuzzy. It's like Velvet Revolver.
You make me sound like I'm a porn star. It's in velvet, red.
You do kind
Imagine it.
You do kind of look like that one dude.
Okay, let's get back to real work. Okay.
It used to be called the pelvic sledgehammer, but
Oh my God! This is a G-rated show. This is family. Come on, our biggest listener is Mrs. Payson. She would not appreciate this kind of rhetoric.
well, we like to have a little fun every once in a while.
All right, here's something that bugged me. Are you guys ready for this? Remember when we talked about this? We have another show that's very different, and it's Kingsley Report, and there's 3 liberals on that panel, and they said that I am all wet when I talk about the Republicans and the Democrats. That it's not about conservatism and all that. Really? Did you
I
see
think what they were
What's
saying
it
is
about?
be careful not to be so rigid in
You have to be rigid.
what you ascribe consequences to. I think that was more their point.
Their whole point of the matter is it has to be fluid, and it sounds like a typical Democrat. Let's find 100 different reasons to say why it's something instead of just saying, hey, keep it simple. Okay, my dad always said it. We say it in the financial world. You keep it simple and sincere. The KISS. And the problem is exactly what happened. The Republican gubernatorial candidate, Tim Donnelly from Twin Peaks. That scares me, that he's from Twin Peaks. But anyways,
I know. The
it
old
said,
show, if people remember that.
yeah, it said he lost his manager, Jennifer Kearns, on the day before what does it say here? It says the campaign manager for Tim Donnelly, running for governor, quits her post just days before a Republican gathering. This is exactly what the Republicans do. They get a candidate, and then they shoot themselves in the foot repeatedly.
Right.
Okay, why do you take such the day to leave? It was a joint effort. Why did you even stay that long?
Yeah.
If you don't like Tim Donnelly or something's not going right, bail before or don't even sign on.
Yeah.
But this is what we see with the Republicans constantly. You look at who's going against Jim Costa. You have Mel Levy. You have Mr. Crass. You have the young lady from Chowchilla, and Johnny Teixeira, and there's one other I thought. And here you
there's
go.
another guy, and then Costa.
Right, you got 5 guys going after 5 people, because there's a female in there. You got 5 people going after one spot. And they're all talking about their conservative ways and leadership. Now, combined, they make a perfect candidate, the perfect candidate. What has Jim Costa done about water? Jim Costa is in Fresno. They don't have water issues in Fresno. Last time I looked, the San Joaquin River doesn't even flow in Fresno. Okay, I mean, it's...
Well, the fact is, Jim Costa, quite frankly, doesn't have a lot of clout in Congress.
Well, he sure was on President Obama's hip when he was visiting here in Fresno, boy. I mean, he was right up there next to him.
That's one of those nice things you do. Hell, Ashley Swearingen was over with Obama, and she's about as conservative as you can get.
Yeah, she's running for.
Pander.
Yeah, Swearingen is running for state controller this next go round.
Yeah, but let's go back to Kingsley report and the three liberals. What did they say about you, Robert?
Well, what they said is I like to make things simple. Yes, it's not correct. Yes, I will tell you, it's not. If you want to dissect it, it's not correct. So what am I dealing with? I'm dealing with a guy with a master's degree. I got a high school education with some college, and my strong suit is in retirement consulting. Right here, these guys are. You got Randall, Professor Randall, who's a political science doctor. You got Gary Gargano, who's a psychology doctor, and you got Jim Kingsley, who's got a master's.
Where are they? Where are they? At Merced College?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're all at Merced College.
Yes.
And they're nice men.
Nobody at the University of California.
They come in on Fridays. Well, I mean, I don't know.
But anyways,
they're educated men. They're
educated,
intelligent.
but
they do state their case, and what they were trying to do is they were trying to illuminate that sometimes there's a tendency to oversimplify, and when we always rail against food stamps and social services, we attribute it to the fact that that's a liberal consequence. That's a consequence to a liberal perspective in government. And what they brought in was some statistics, and Robert pointed this out to me last night when I was kind of explaining it to him that, liars use statistics and statistics lie or something like that.
Yeah.
But basically what he was saying was you can look at the list of the top 10 states that have the highest percentage of food stamp recipients, and 7 out of the 10 are run by conservative governors, and they have a conservative slant to the state. So
and California is huge.
That doesn't mean anything.
Well, that's the whole point.
That means nothing. You think the governor invites everybody into the state and throws out who he doesn't want? He doesn't have a choice.
But here's the point.
But if the state's being run with a conservative policy maker and their
but we have safety nets. We have rules. We're a nation of laws. We just can't get some
Thank you, buddy.
Conservatives aren't mean-spirited.
No, but what my point is when you have a liberal governor like Jerry Brown, okay?
Right.
Okay. I
and he would say that Jerry Brown is not nearly as liberal as you paint him to be, or we paint him to be. That he is, if you really look at his numbers.
Liberal. The problem is the Democrats are so friggin' liberal that Jerry Brown looks like a moderate. And that's what people, that are new to the political scene don't realize.
Here's the point.
They didn't call him Moonbeam for a reason, folks.
Well, here's the thing that bugs me. And I know this is going to sound a little crass. I'm sorry. Okay, but the state of California and their union, CTA, okay, you have a man down in Southern California that's feeding semen to his students. And,
that's right.
And the liberals say, oh, well, he has to have this and he has to have that.
The union protects him, and the response to that would be,
wanted to protect his retirement.
But I think
are you kidding me?
I think that the response you would get is that you have to let the criminal justice system work. You're presumed innocent until proven guilty.
I'll tell you what you do.
That's what the argument is.
Hold on. Stop, Steve.
About his retirement.
Stop, Case. Hold on a minute. Okay, here's what I want to ask you. If you're here at this studio, now we have very nice young ladies in the sales staff, and you go and you act inappropriately to the sales staff, I'll bet you don't last the end of the day before you're shown the door and give me your keys. Now, you look at the two knuckleheads, Calderon and Wright, that are in government. They're both Democrats. They get to keep their job while they have been indicted.
That's a different story. Now, though, there's been convictions in that case.
My point is,
legal system has played out.
Right.
You're right, and you're right. That's hypocritical.
One it has, and Calderon's not convicted yet, just indicted.
Yeah, but the other gentleman has been convicted of 8 different charges.
No, and I agree. And if you're indicted, that's pretty damning. Anybody that didn't read that out just fascinating reading. And it's not Ian, it's his brother. I mean, it's still
Casey, you came in and out.
Yeah, Casey, you might want to start that point again. Your phone faded in and out. We couldn't hear you.
I'm sorry, what? Not just
the metal in your teeth are messing with your transmission.
Yeah. We're starting to lose you, Case. Can you hear us?
Let's run without Case.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but you're really spotty. You're really in and out. So why don't we? Why don't you make?
My point is when you look at the state of California is going broke. Okay.
No, they ran a surplus this year.
Yeah, sure they did.
I know, but how did they get away with that, Robert?
Did you ever watch the movie Wall Street, Other People's Money? It's a great point. Frank Langella plays this broker. He runs a brokerage house. He says, I got a guy calling me up. He says that he's got losses, but he's making money off of losses. How do you make money off of losses? They're losses. It's the same thing with the state of California. You got money going here, there, and everywhere, but we got a surplus. Okay, and this is what I'm going to lead into in today's Sunstar. Workers may pay more.
It's Casey's phone.
Workers pay more for pensions.
I can hear it. I can hear you guys.
But anyways, it says workers may pay more. Now, here we go again with Deidre Kelsey with her leading with her face. John Pedroso. Oh, she's got 8 suspensions, but she's a safe driver. You got Jerry O'Bannon. What? Lady has her boyfriend with guns? That's a mistake. Are you serious? Okay. So anyways, I'm reading this workers may pay more for pensions. And yeah, it's true. You know, they got a $900 million liability that they got to pay over the next 16 years. But some of the stuff in here makes no sense. They say one thing out of one side of their face, and then out of the other one, oh, everything's going to be fine. And it's not going to be fine. It says the problem with their members are the problem with the liability will be higher for the pensions because they had a lot of people retiring. Right. So if you got more people going out and less people putting in, of course, you're going to have less money. Okay. It says our members are living longer, and based on those projections, we look at how much money we need to put into the system. That's smart. Aravello said rates are also affected by the county's investment earnings. That's true, too. This year, the county earned 12.4%. Now, let's put that in perspective. The county earned 12.4%. Yesterday, I went, and I do this every week. I go to the banks, 3 banks. I walk from one corner to the next, and I say, please give me your money rates. The money rates is a list of rates that they charge for $100,000. And what they do is they tier it. If you got over $50,000, if you got over $100,000, if you leave the money for a year, 2 years, 5 years, the rates change. Because the longer you put the money on
the rate of return on the investment,
right? Because what happens is the more money that they get to use and longer they get to use it, they will give you a bonus, okay, and charge. Okay, the highest I saw on the sheet was 1.5%. Now that's from a bank, conservative. Now here we are, okay, exactly what I've always said. The county's investment earnings were 12.4, exceeding its assumption of 7.5. Okay, so we did good. However, the gains will be wiped out because retirees are living longer and mortality rates are changing. So all those gains you got, yeah, you got them. But because we're spending more money going out than we're pulling in,
right,
those gains are going to be wiped out.
And since 2009, the S&P has tripled, the S&P index. Mm-hmm. When is that ever going to happen again?
Probably not in a long time.
Exactly.
Because
so you're not going to be getting those returns again.
Well,
yeah.
But what you have to do, people, is you have to remember that the market has to correct downward.
Absolutely.
To give you that opportunity.
And the reason, and another factor in the fact that the stock market has had this huge run up is because of quantitative easing.
Well, and also, here's the other thing. The Democratic Party doesn't know what they're doing with Obamacare and this. So what happened is you've got a lot of profitable companies that have been hoarding cash. When they hoard cash, what happens is people want to buy the stock because at some point or another, okay, if they're running a great business model, they're going to give you, like Microsoft did, $4 a share cash payment. So if you're sitting on 1,000 shares of Microsoft and they say, hey, we're flush with so much cash, we're going to give our stockholders a $4 a share, you're going to get $4,000. Bang, here you go. Right. Now, some of the companies, some people are looking into that. But here's the thing that was just stupid as stupid gets. And here we go with our leaders just leading with their face. Karen Adams says that the county's retirement system is conservative compared to other systems. Well, that's not really a stretch. It also says that some problems, layoffs, affect the contribution rates because people aren't contributing, right? So you got retirees leaving, you got layoff people leaving. The city and the counties are getting leaner, means their retirement system has less money in it. But guess what? You have tier 1 employees that are getting bucks, big bucks, and cost of living raises and all this stuff that they say is not. It says, for example, tier 1 employees are eligible for cost of living increases in their pension, which means their pensions go up with the cost of living. Nobody else gets that. So all of the guys
to spike those pensions with vacation and sick pay.
Whoa,
well, up to 80 hours of vacation pay and 50 hours of sick pay.
But there's the point.
Right.
So what you do is you
that's
get
a law in the state. They can do nothing about that at the county level.
Yes, they can.
Bullshit.
Yes, they can.
Hey, we're on the air here. Hey. Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
No, but what I'm saying, but here's what I'm saying. Okay, so what they do is they say, "Oh, we're going to be okay." How are we going to be okay if we got more money going out than that's coming in, and you had record-breaking returns? How in the world are we going to...
We're not going to be okay, Robert. That's the bottom line.
Yes,
the chickens are coming home to roost.
But what you've got is you got people like Karen Adams going, well, we're conservative. Oh, well, yeah. So if 12% is conservative and we're spending all this money, what the heck is anybody else doing?
It's an impossible business model to sustain.
But here's the bad...
It's a mathematical impossibility.
Right, but here's the thing is the Superior Court upheld a part of the state law that curbs spiking. It curbs spiking. We can say we're not going to allow spiking.
That's right.
But the county caps the number of hours an employee can use toward his or her pension as 80 hours of vacation and 50 hours of sick time. That's almost a month. Okay, you're sitting there and you're going, really? So what do? I got this perk here, and now it's not that I'm paying back. You know, I can understand you got 80 hours of sick days and you got 80 hours of vacation time and you want to pay it back one lump. Here I go. Give me 10 grand. Goodbye and move on. No, they take the 10 grand and now they add it every year for 40 years, depending on how old you live. I mean, there are some people, some tier one employees are in their middle 50s.
My comment to that is whoever was sitting at the table when that contract was negotiated and whoever voted to put that into our state law deserves a punch to the jaw.
No, remember Robert De Niro in The Untouchables? And he said he's an individual and we don't work as a team. And what did he do with that guy? He just beat the crap out of him with a baseball bat.
I mean, it blows my mind that someone has allowed this to happen to the California taxpayer. It blows me away.
It happened in good times when everything was flush during the boom. The building boom, property tax revenues were coming in.
I don't care.
Where you saw police officers get 3%.
Why can't we save the money for a rainy day?
And it also doesn't justify being able to spike your pension for the rest of your life. I don't care how flush the times are. That's a money grab giveaway, and whoever was sitting there negotiating on the behalf of this taxpayer deserves to get a punch to the jaw.
And you know what? That came up. Yeah, that came up last night. I was talking to a supporter of Pat Lunny, and that came up. And we have to take a commercial break, folks. Steve Colvard, please take us out here.
You're listening to Citizen Watch on this beautiful pre-weekend 80 degrees, Casey, by the way. If you would get your butt back here, you would be able to enjoy it.
14, folks.
Do I hit the button now?
Yeah, not yet. Let me finish my spiel here.
Okay.
It's Thursday night here in downtown Merced. You're listening to Citizen Watch.
Do I hit it yet?
We'll be right back. Hit it now.
Now?
Spacebar.
We're back in. Go sit down.
Okay.
And do you understand why we want space between the segments, Robert? So we know.
We're on the radio, guys. Guys, folks, they had to kind of help me out. I was hitting buttons that I wasn't. They were giving me the left and the right.
Yeah,
I got to tell you a good story about left and right, Case. Should I tell them?
On the air?
Yes.
Yeah, we're back.
You want to hear the story about left and right?
Well, tell us what show we're listening to.
Oh, we're listening to the Robert Tomasetti show, and it's live from Studio X.
See what happens when you put people in that chair?
This is Casey Steed's show. I'm just here by the grace of Casey. Steve Colvard, the best engineer in town, is not engineering. I am, so that means that the engineering on this show will be crap.
It's very complicated, isn't it?
It is. It's pretty complicated.
You hit record to start and spacebar to end.
And you get paid to do this?
Yeah, he just doesn't know his right from his left, folks. And this is a guy who pilots the friendly sky.
I didn't pilot the friendly sky.
Malaysia board.
Let me tell you what happened. Which, and I don't understand that. If being an ex-air traffic controller in the military, you think that they would have did VFR or IFR flight following. And what that is you have a scope and you follow the plane and you know about where it should be. So I don't understand how it's so lost. But what I did was I had a little problem, folks. Runways are calculated by compass points, right? So if you're looking at a scope and you got runway 18, that goes what? North and south. You got 18 and 36. So what happens is if the plane is coming down, okay, so it's coming down your scope. It's heading towards the floor. You're watching it. And Robert, like a dumbass, I told the plane one time to turn left, and the plane started turning right because what I didn't realize was my left is his right. And the plane started going way the hell out here. I'm like, what the hell's he doing? And the guy goes, it's your left, you stupid bastard.
Yeah. The 360 degrees on a compass really scores Robert. But
when I'm looking at the
scope. Do a little of this air traffic banner. I'll pretend I'm a plane. 24 Juliet Victor. 27,000 coming into your space. Good day, sir.
Who? What? No, it would be KC01 ident. KC01.
Okay, I did.
Okay, so what he does is he hits a transponder, and what happens on the scope is it flashes, so you can see it. And then you go KC01, radar contact, descend and maintain flight level 120, turn left heading. But if Casey's heading down towards the floor, you got to realize that his right is your left, and your right is his left. So I got discombobulated. So they had to put on the screen left and right for me because I was a dumbass. So I tell the guy, I want a guy to turn left, right? My left. But my left is actually his right. So the guy starts doing this big old circle, and I'm like, what the shit's he doing? And they're like, that's the wrong way. So when Steve told me to hit the left bar and I hit the right one, I was discombobulated.
But he's getting it, folks, and if you're hearing the show, that means he hit it right.
But anyways,
one thing I wanted to talk about.
Wait, Pat Lunny. I was going to finish that and then let you do it.
Oh, I forgot. Yes, Pat.
Okay.
Yes.
So Pat Lunny. So I'm in this discussion with a young lady who's now you're reading all about these pension benefits lately. Okay, you saw Mark Pazin. He's making 130% of his earned salary. Not Mark's fault. It's who wrote the pensions. So now we got Pat Lunny, who's 67, 66 years old, and he wants to run for sheriff. And I'm like, okay, first of all, I'm not too cool with Pat running. I mean, he's a good man. Don't get me wrong. He's probably very qualified to be a sheriff. But the point is he's 66, 67 years old. This isn't a post-retirement job here, guys. Okay, you look at Mr. Swigert and Mr. Warnke, and they're in their 50s. So you say, hey, if they become sheriff, we're going to get 10, 15 years out of them. Not Pat. We're probably going to get a couple of years. He's going to file for retirement because you got to remember, folks, the sheriff, from what I understand, is a Tier 1 employee, which means he already has 8 years in the saddle with the county, which means all he needs is 2 more years as a Tier 1 employee. He'll have 10 years in and cap out at, 90% of $163,000?
Well, you're forgetting about that vacation and sick pay.
Yeah, of course. And the perks, the car allowance, the phone allowance. So we add this to it, and I think the reason that Mr. Lunny would like to become sheriff is I think in 4 years, Mr. Lunny will retire with gobs more money than he already has. I would say almost $10,000 a month more than what he already has.
You have gold-plated pensions there, Merced. I can guarantee you the district attorney's office workers aren't getting the Tier 1 benefits. Now, Larry is, but not the worker bees.
No, not the worker bees. And that's one of the things that the county is doing. They're trying to change these, and they're trying to put in more prudent guidelines and rules to put these retirements in check. But there are people that are Tier 1 employees that are still making gobs of money. Now, let me tell you a perk that I am just upset about. Now, everybody knows that I know a lot of those supervisors, and Jerry O'Bannon angers me. Jerry O'Bannon goes, from what I understand, that the supervisors, part of their compensation is mileage. So for every mile, for every 2 miles, that equates to almost $1. Now, Jerry O'Bannon lives somewhere out in the west side. So when he comes to work in the morning, he gets $1 for every 2 miles he travels. Was it like 55 cents a mile, Case?
Yeah, that's the IRS reimbursement. I believe the county's following that.
Okay, so that means that Jerry O'Bannon comes to work and say it's 50 miles. That's $25 today. That's just
that's one way, Robert.
Right, right.
Yeah.
That's just to get to work. So there's a $25 breakfast, and then he gets $25 to go back home. That's $50 a day, folks. Okay, what is that in a 30-day schedule?
Well, if you look at a typical 180-day work year, but look at it this way, Robert. That money also goes towards
his retirement. What kind of garbage, and who wrote those rules?
Yeah, exactly.
And those are the people that we should hold accountable. Not the Karen.
You expect Deidre Kelsey, when they're getting this kind of money, these kind of perks, to vote against them? They could, folks. Don't misunderstand us. There is an answer. Just because there's a rule doesn't mean you can't modify it, but these people are gutless.
Yeah, but I'm going to
on the system.
But wait a minute.
That's right.
But you look at, but here's the funny part. Okay, Hub Walsh and John Pedroza, they don't take mileage. Now, Hub is only a hop, a skip, and a jump from his house. Okay, I get that. And John lives on the edge of town. But Deidre lives out in some backwoods in Snelling, okay? And you got Lynn Davis comes all the way from Atwater in his Corvette. And you got Jerry O'Bannon coming from they want that mileage, folks. They want to be paid to play as your supervisor. And that's what I have a problem with.
Well, it is. And what Robert's talking about is what's said in the article. Deidre, hands, in the air. What can we do? There's nothing we can do. Yes, there is, Deidre. There is something you can do. And what they're doing is they're putting it on the taxpayers of Merced and the future generations of county employees. Because one of the ways they're going to balance this budget, this deficit in their pension, is not hire employees. So these layoffs that have been going on over the years, they're going to be they'll never fill those positions. They'll be eliminated.
Right.
And so we get less service to the citizens. You go down there, it's closed, or there's only one person to wait on you, one stop. No, it should be one person, and there's nobody there. Services suffer, all because we're paying this ghost force of employees out there, these platinum benefits, and she says, there's nothing we can do. Bull.
Yep.
There is something you can do.
There's an area that you would agree with the guys from the Kingsley report. They're very on board with that. They think
what I have a problem with is the five geniuses at 2 because they don't know how many twos there are. Okay. That was bad, I know. But anyways, the situation is the supervisors, lead by example. You want to cut my job?
Right.
Okay, you want to cut my job? If you're taking a 10% salary cut, 5% salary cut, I'm for you. But no, don't. And I told him, and here's something that I said. I said, guys, don't even take a pay cut. Why don't you suspend your $40,000 slush fund or whatever it's called? Okay, why don't you suspend that? 5 times 40, $200,000.
$200,000.
Suspended for 2-3 years, bam, you're fine. No, can't do that. No, because they want every perk and every dollar that they can possibly scrounge. And to me, that, I like these people as people. I mean, we have coffee with them. I like them. But I scratch my head and I go, guys, Pat Lunny was a great example. I go, Pat, I like you as a person. I think you do a great job at the DA, but I'm going to criticize you running. Well, he says, Robert, he goes, you do what you have to do, which I thought was very noble because he doesn't probably listen to our show that much and he doesn't understand how upset and incensed I am that he's running in the first place.
We're really not going to know how many people listen to this show until some elections come.
No, they won't admit it, but I don't know if you guys saw in the paper this morning, Bill Blake wrote a very nice editorial endorsing Pat Lunny, saying that he's endorsed by 3 of the former sheriffs.
Yeah, and I think Bill's son is running Pat's campaign, isn't he?
Now you're following
he's instrumental in it. Another thing, I just want to take a minute. There was another letter to the editor this morning from Peter Lisdis about Adam Gray and these signs that you see around town. Adam Gray broke his promises. I don't know if you've seen those around town.
Yes.
Okay. Is Steve still there?
Yep. Steve had to help the engineer. I'm training.
Yeah, no problem. I'm not here. What, did I miss something?
No, Casey was just babbling.
Yeah,
sorry,
I don't know.
Casey was talking about. Go ahead, Casey. Repeat yourself, please.
What happened? Did I go off the air?
No, there was an issue over on the recording thing. I had to walk over there and help. I had my
running out of time, and I'm trying to calculate. Go ahead.
Anyway, I don't know where I dropped off, but there was a letter to the editor about Adam Gray in the paper. About these signs that you see, Adam Gray broke his promises. Right. Have you seen those? Anyway,
they had a billboard off of 59 for a while over there.
Yeah, and I guess there's one over Yosemite and G. Anyway, he said there's no information on what's broken or who the individuals or organizations that sponsored these ads. And he goes, I wouldn't be surprised if someone starts saying that Adam's opposed to motherhood or strangles puppies for laughs. Breaks into homes. Well, I mean, just all of these crazy things. And then he goes, what bugs me is the anonymous nature of this gutter snipe attack is highly personal, certainly creepy, indicative of the decadent ethical standards held by the cowardly persons responsible for these ads. And then he says the general public should be outraged by the smear campaign and the imposition of such obnoxious, stupid ugliness upon our public spaces. These are akin to obscene scrawlings found above the urinal in a gas station toilet.
Here's my question.
Wow, who wrote that?
Similar level of taste and mental development. Well, guess who's running these ads, folks?
The unions.
Guess who's behind those ads?
The union.
Mr. Lisdis, that disgusting behavior, that obnoxious, stupid ugliness upon the public, that gutter snipe, that highly personal. the decadent ethical standards. Guess who's running those ads, Minister Lisdus? It's the unions.
Yeah, but here's the point.
They're upset at old Adam because he didn't play ball.
But here's the thing.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Isn't that? I mean, that's freedom of speech. You put a sign out, okay. How is it say Adam Gray lied? How is that? The same thing as graffiti above a urinal? Okay.
Who authored that? Who wrote that?
I understand.
The AFL CIO, the Cesar Chavez, the UFW, they're pissed off because he didn't extend a labor contract over there in Fresno. He had some juice on that. He decided not to do it.
Right.
And that's why they say they broke his promises. No, he wasn't bought and paid for, you numbnuts. And that's the problem. And so Mr. Lisdus gets off. Well, nobody knows who the ad's from. It's from the union. It's from the Democrats. Because if you don't play ball with them, they not only take their bat and ball, they napalm the field. They kill all of the players on the opposing team because they can't stand it. They're the biggest bunch of babies I've ever seen in my life.
You know what?
You wonder who puts these billboards up? It's his own party.
I agree.
His own supporters.
I agree with you, and what I say,
I would take that as a compliment if I was Adam Gray.
Exactly, because Adam is trying
to show some independent thinking. And
moderate.
God bless you, Adam Gray.
And these knuckleheads on the Kingsley show about, you can't lump everybody together. There's a perfect example of the party line, no matter what.
Well, here's the point, and this is what I want to say. I like the fact that, hey, look, the guys are waving at me. Hey, what I wanted to say is that this is cool. They're looking at me like, what the heck is he doing there?
What the hell is he doing back there, Steve? I hope you don't get in trouble.
So the point I'm saying is that here is Adam Gray trying to be a moderate and kind of use his head and say, you know what, maybe I don't agree with that. And instead of Adam Gray just moving on with life and people, we got this guy who sits there and says, oh, how terrible it is. I'll bet you any amount of money he's a union employee.
Oh, I guarantee you. It's just...
Case.
We don't realize where it's coming from. What?
We're running out of time.
Yeah, and you know what? You get back to that point, then we have to shut her down. But, man, this is not what America's about, I don't think, man.
You mean I can hit the button and eject this?
It's not.
Robert has a great book he's reading. He reads me passages of it. This didn't used to be the way the parties interacted, folks. When Tip O'Neill and Robert can talk about it.
We'll talk about it on Thursday. I'll bring the passage. But what it is really quickly is, it's always been like this since the beginning of time. Republicans versus Democrats.
Nasty.
Yes, it's always been this nasty. It was nasty when Roosevelt the first. It was nasty with Roosevelt the second. Truman, all of it. It's always been this nasty. But it's how the leaders find somebody to rise above it and bring everybody together. Okay,
like
we had John Kennedy
and Ronald Reagan.
In the 60s. In the 1960, it was John Kennedy. In 1980, it was Ronald Reagan. That's what we need today. Folks, we're running out of time. And Casey?
Hey, let me just say, I just want to say one thing since they saw
48
Monica
minutes.
and Pirate. The nice thing about dating a homeless girl is you can drop her off anywhere, Pirate.
How about at your house, buddy? You're really...
Hey, Robert, what do we say when we end the show?
Good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.
Good night, folks.